Hey guys, how's it going? It's 8-Bit Eric's. We're a little bit over a month away from the next console generation coming out here. Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, and a lot of developers are starting to look into the specs of the hardware, really getting to sink their teeth into it and get their games ready for the future. Now, there's a lot of developers that have titles coming out later in the year or potentially in the future that don't have a launch title coming out and stuff like that. And it's interesting to see what a lot of these companies have to say in regards to the next two consoles. I know personally, I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to get both of them, honestly. I'm just overall, this is an exciting time to be a gamer. Up front, some of the best technology we ever had, some amazing games fixing to come out, accessibility's through the roof, lots of new features, lots of new abilities and stuff for these graphics, 4K gaming, cloud gaming, you name it. And every time I see an article from some kind of head of a company, I'm like, okay, I'm going to read that. So we're going to talk about the Gearbox head who got to check out these consoles, and he's going to give his opinion about it. This was from an interview. This is going to be read from GameSpot.com. So if you guys are brand new to the channel, if this is your first time coming here, click the red button down below and subscribe. Enable notifications so you don't miss any headlines. Let's go ahead and begin here. This is Gearbox Head Says PS5, Xbox Series X are absolutely unreal. Randy Pitchford says this console generation is a profound leap from the last one, but we may not see it in the first batch of games. So this is almost kind of like the ray tracing article that I said, where these first launch games are going to have issues in regards to ray tracing and development and getting used to the technology. This is still brand new, so it's going to be expected. Some people might not be happy. Again, you cannot please everybody when it comes to gaming. People are going to complain about certain stuff. It's bound to happen. It's not a bad thing, though. Don't look at these launch titles as the end. Think of it as the beginning of an experiment. So it says the next generation's a little more than a month away, as Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 will launch within just 2 days of each other. So that's going to be an exciting week. Developers are starting to look into the new hardware specs, but one that already has a launch game coming says the new hardware is a massive upgrade. So this is Gearbox, who's making Godfall. So it says Gearbox is publishing Godfall, which is a PlayStation 5 launch game. I'm actually quite interested in that too. It kind of has that real dark, medieval, Dark Souls looking type of vibe. It says in a Borderlands retrospective interview with GameSpot, Gearbox founder Randy Pitchford talked about what players can expect from the new generation. And this was his quote here. And this is exciting, and this is really interesting to go ahead and listen to. So let's go ahead and get into this. It says, I always get so pumped when there's an ability to take a step forward with new hardware and new technology. No kidding. I'm pumped too. And anything that's going to empower us, Pitchford said. I think customers realize how proud of a difference it is to have the throughput capability that these new platforms bring. So realize how profound of a difference it is. So he's hyping it up. He says it's just absolutely unreal. The leap there with the PS5 and Xbox Series X is the biggest leap I've ever seen in the history of console generations. That's actually a really big statement. I know sometimes I in my streams, people are like saying they really don't see a difference between last console generation and this current one. And a lot of them tend to say that they're just going to go to PC gaming or just hold off on the current generation period, because right now, let's be honest, a lot of the games that you can play on Series X are going to be on Xbox One through Game Pass, and some of the launch titles for the PlayStation 5 like Miles Morales are going to be playable on the PlayStation 4 as well. So there's kind of like a consensus where people are saying, oh, I'm just going to hold off. I don't see enough of a giant leap graphically. I personally think I disagree with that. There's a lot of little knickknacks like ray tracing and things like that that really provide a lot of technological leap from the last two console generations. And to say the biggest he's ever seen in history of console generations, he even goes on to say, including the leap from 2D to 3D, it's going to change the way we think about every bit of our experiences. That's huge, because I personally feel the leap from 8-bit to 16-bit was humongous. And then from 16-bit to the 3D era with PlayStation 1 and the Nintendo 64, that was humongous. And then PS1 era to PS2 era, those were all really good. But 8-bit to 16-bit at the time, in my opinion, was just utterly unreal. I remember being like, holy cow. So that's a big statement by Gearbox. Now, Pitchford did caution that it will be hard to see that in initial launch titles, because so many of them are ports or games that are from the current generation being remanaged on next gen. So that's kind of like what I just said. A lot of the titles that are coming out will be ports or also available on cross-gen. So that goes hand in hand with the article that I previously wrote with ray tracing. A lot of these early launch titles are going to not have quite a drastic leap. He cautions that. He says it'll be hard to see in those initial titles. He says even still, he did say he's looking forward to Borderlands 3 on the new consoles with increased resolution and frame rate. He also teased a new mode coming, so that's interesting. Then it goes on to say Godfall is going to be coming on November 12th for the PS5. It's a launch title. It's a looter slasher. So, a word of caution from Gearbox Head, saying that the initial launch titles are still going to kind of be a little rough. You're not going to see the profound leap. But he goes on to say that the Series X and the PlayStation 5 are going to have the biggest leap in the history of console gaming. That is a pretty big statement. I'm not going to say he's completely wrong in that, because I do have full faith in what this next console generation is going to bring. Again, we're a little over a month away, so I'm absolutely ecstatic for it. Like, I'm counting the days. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got my PlayStation 5 pre-order in, so I have that. I'm still working on the Xbox Series X one. But, holy moly, is this going to be an interesting generation? Seeing, the transition to what we're getting right here, the most powerful consoles ever made. A lot of games that are having a lot of different tricks of the trade with development and stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. If this guy from Gearbox, Randy Pitchford, can say that this is a huge, profound leap that's absolutely unreal, I'm going to take his word for it. Gearbox, for the most part, is a credible brand that I can trust. I don't think they would fluff us in regards to that. But anyways, guys, that's the article. That's my thoughts on it. Let me know your comments down below, what you think in regards to this console generation. Are you somebody who's completely sold in? Are you all in? Are you buying in that this is going to be the best looking gaming and consoles that we can have with the best features? Or are you still kind of hesitant and you're fine with your PlayStation 4 or your Xbox One and you're kind of like, I'm going to hold off on that. And guys, while you're at it, subscribe, click like. I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great day. Peace out.